The top focus are the inputs we're getting in as far as the details emerging from the ongoing GST Council meet. It is a major relief for consumers at this 23rd meeting of the GST Council. Tax rates on close to 12 items that belonged to the 28% tax slab have now been slashed. These were daily items of use such as chewing gums, chocolates, shaving cream, shampoos. They've now been put to the 18% category. Also, items such as detergents, granite, marble will cost less as they will be slapped with 18% now instead of the earlier 28%. Tax on beauty products has also been cut down from 28 to now 18. The revenue implication of this is estimated to be at about 20,000 crore rupees.
I had written a letter to the Honourable Chief Minister, on the Honourable Union Finance Minister on 30th, saying that the principle on which these rates were being fixed was called fitment. That means jitna incidence tax hai, bring it close to that. That has been abandoned. Now some new principles are being talked about. We fought a lot. Some of them have been accepted. But the principle that we were talking about, which is available in my letter to the Honourable Union Finance Minister, that you only have sin goods and luxury goods in 28%, the rest should be moved to 18%. So this is written in my letter on 30th of this month, October, and we fought for that. Some items have been yielded to, but this principle, unfortunately, is not being followed by the union government.
Which means that the 28% slab will see some more items, apart from sin items, goods continue.
We will have to, that you will at the end of the conference you will know.
Right.
But the point is, we fought, and several other ministers have talked about it, that we should have this big principle. If you're shifting the goalpost, if you're shifting the goalpost from fitment to the closest rate existing to some other principle, that simply that principle should be only sin goods and luxury goods. Everything else should move out of 20%.
Will there be revenue implications? Will there be revenue implications?
Later in the day, I will tell you all the revenue implications.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
देखिए जो 28% का स्लैब था जिसमें पहले 227 आइटम्स थे और फिटमेंट कमेटी ने ये रेकमेंड किया था that it should be pruned to 62 items, but the GST Council has further pruned 12 more items, and now all type of chewing gum, chocolates, and preparations for facial makeup or shaving and after shaving, like items like deodorants and washing powder, detergents, and granite and marble. All these items have been put in the 18% category. And I must thank Mr. Arun Jaitley for conducting this meeting.
Let's get in more inputs from my colleague, correspondent Avni Raja, with those details. Avni, as we mentioned, this is information still trickling in as the meeting is still underway. A final announcement, of course, on this would come in from Finance Minister later this evening. But there is also, of course, much awaited information on items that have now entered the 12% tax slab as well.
Like you said, this is information that's just trickling in as the council took a break for lunch, but more details will emerge through the day and when the final press, the announcement really comes in. But at this point, what we know is that there were as many as 227 items that were earlier in the 28% category, and now that 28% category specifically will boil down only to about 50 items. And among the items where the tax rate has been cut include things like chewing gum, chocolates, shaving cream, your detergents, granite, marble, even beauty products, toothpaste. So these are really essential, several of them are essential daily use items. So big relief there as far as consumers are concerned. And that, of course, a lot of these items, long-standing demand from several industries to bring down the tax rate. But the other aspect that we will also have to wait and watch for is what are the kind of relief measures this time round that get announced as far as the small industries and smaller traders are concerned. Because remember, last the council meet was when they had announced some relief measures has made it easier for several of these smaller industries, smaller businessmen to implement GST, and we'll have to see how that really pans out going forward and whether they further make any more announcements to ease the difficulties that they are having, because a lot of these small traders and businesses are facing a really tough time in trying to actually implement the GST regime.
That's right. Right now, of course, we're highlighting the nature of relief that the consumers would be having in buying in daily items. As you mentioned, chewing gum, chocolate, shaving cream, shampoos, detergents, all of that, a relief on that. We still need to get in information, the nature of relief that is coming, supposed to come in for SMEs, as you mentioned, and also for digital transactions. Has that aspect been incentivized?
Absolutely, sir. That's something sort of we'll have to now wait and watch as to what the final announcements come in from the digital angle as well, as you're saying.
Avni, many thanks for getting us those inputs there. Remember, for our viewers, this is information which is still trickling in. It is to continue through the day in the coming few hours till a final announcement there that comes in from the Finance Minister. But without doubt, these are items up on your screens that we consume on a daily basis, and for no reason they were belonging to the high-end luxury category because they had a 28% tax slab on being charged on them. Several of these have now been pushed down, belonging either to the 18% or to the 12% tax slab. So just a total of remaining of 50 items which will now belong to the 28% category. More inputs coming in on this in just a bit. More importantly, also getting in reactions from the market, from consumers on ground, from tax experts as well, on what this means for the running of businesses as well, as this is an ongoing meeting. These were multiple assurances here that had come in from the government that these are initial phases of the GST and a restructuring would take place, and this is exactly what the 23rd GST Council meet today has ascertained on a review and a revisit to the tax slabs and the items that belong to each given slab. Composition scheme could be further simplified as well to ease the transition pain for small and medium enterprises. For restaurants, remember, eating out being a major area of interest for consumers as well, whether or not you're going to be taxed 18% in a non-AC restaurant or 28% in an AC restaurant here. A word here that's coming in from tax expert Mr. Abhishek Rastogi. Thank you for being with us, Abhishek. Your first reaction to this?
I think it was very expected that the rates would reduce, and it's a very welcome thing to do because a lot of industry players and even the consumers were struggling with a very high rate of 28%. And I think it's a very, very welcome decision that the lot of rates from the 28% bracket has gone down to 18%. So I think people will be happy, consumers will be happy, and even the businesses will be happy. So some of these populist measures which were expected are coming and flowing, and I think it's a very, very welcome thing to happen.
Sheikh, a final announcement of this, of course, yet to come in, since this is a meeting which is still underway. But the kind of relief, along which lines are you expecting, and in which industries as far as SMEs are concerned?
So what I understand is that most of these changes which are now announced in the this thing will come even in the final announcement. So a lot of these rate cuts, if you see the number of items which will remain in 28%, will be very less, which could be as less as 50, 60 items. And I think more importantly, the GST Council will also take a lot of this brainstorming decisions on a lot of matters which have gone to the courts. So there could be transactions between the head office and the branch. There could be other transactions as well, where the representations have been made or the matters have gone to the court. So for a lot of these issues, I think the GST Council will take a decision as well.
Right. And in how long do you think this is going to be taking, and how much time in implementing this correction on ground?
See, generally what happens is that the notifications come in about 2 to 3 weeks. We have seen the GST Council meet of the last time as well. A few of these notifications for exporters, it took the government about 2 weeks to formalize that. But even if that happens in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I think it is a very welcome thing to happen till the time the benefits flow on to the consumers and to the industry.
Mr. Abhishek Rastogi, tax expert, many thanks. Looking at this on a welcome note in the kind of information that's coming in that relief largely to the consumers. Those items that you're seeing images of which on your screen no longer belonging to the 28% slab. They've been pushed down to 18% and 12%, justifiably, because the 28% category largely, of course, was believed to be the high-end luxury category. We're going to be getting in more reactions, more inputs through the day here on this very subject.